Hi. Christine, we're still here. We still not here.
Call this meeting together to order. Wednesday, May 3rd at 6:10. Start with the prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Declaration of pecuniary interest. Any? Seeing none, we will move on to announcements. Councillor announcement, starting with Councillor McLaughlin. June 10th. Okay.
I'm sorry, I was so eager to get ahead with this. The library, Whitewater Region Library, is hosting their annual golf tournament. This year they've changed the agenda. It's only 9 holes instead of 18, and there'll be supper as well. So we're looking for as many teams as we could possibly get. You don't have to be golfers. It's a fun afternoon. It's out to help them fund mainly books and stuff like that for the library. Unfortunately, they have to rely on fundraising. Also, if you feel inclined, you could also sponsor a whole sponsor for $50.
On July 8th, there is a tour to Whitewater, organized and starting in Westmeath. It'll be on the web page, and there's flyers up all over the township. So support. They start out with breakfast, and it'll be a day of whatever activities. If you want to bike with them, or you just want to eat, just to support them. You got to throw that out there, right? All right, that's the one I'm thinking of. And Councillor Mackay.
I think our roving reporter's going to be on that bike ride, aren't you, Connie? There you go. You could race me.
I might get my 10-speed aired up. Councillor Regular.
So just a couple of things. So I'm happy to report as Chair of Human Resources that Sean Crozier has joined our Whitewater team as Deputy Treasurer. His formal bylaw to appoint him as Deputy Treasurer under the Municipal Act will be coming forward at this meeting. Sean is a Bachelor of Science. I'm sorry? Oh, at the next meeting? Okay, sorry. Sean is a Bachelor of Science with majors in Accounting and Business. He's also completed his Municipal Accounting and Finance program from the Association of Municipal Managers, Clerks, and Treasurers of Ontario. And he previously worked in the same position for the Township of Admaston-Brumley and worked for a time with McKilligan and Associates, our auditors. So we'll be welcoming him, and well, I think he's been here this week, so he's already on board. Just one other thing, this weekend is the Beachburg Yard Sale from 8 to 12, so it could be a soggy day, but it's a day where we probably bring a couple of thousand people into the village to go around and do the yard sale. And the week of May 13th, this Saturday, is the Borka Chicken Run in Beachburg and the Home Show at the Rink. So busy couple of weekends coming up in Beachburg. That's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you, Kathy. Reeve Miller. All right. We'll move on to the public meeting. And
We're here today to discuss the proposed user pay budget pursuant to Section 290 of the Municipal Act 2001. The township shall prepare and adopt a budget, including estimates of all sums required during the year for the purposes of the municipality. Notice of public meeting was provided by newspaper advertisement, social media, and the website. The drinking water budgets were considered by corporate services on April 19th. The draft wastewater budget was released this week and will be discussed later in the meeting. One written comment was received from the Fraser Morris and Huebner Funeral Home regarding water metering.
Okay, at this time, I call on anyone present who wishes to speak to this matter to come forward. Come forward. Wayne. Yep.
I thank Mayor Johnson and Council for allowing me this opportunity. I've asked quite a while ago, to have a meeting with Council, and before I begin my presentation, I sit here in the back corner there with a lot of the folks, and I see a lot of presentations, and on any good speech, you should start off with a good line. As Henry VIII said to each one of his wives in turn, I'll try not to keep you too long. On that note, let's get on to business. On Tuesday, April 25th, I put a meter into my place. I asked to be metered over 20 years ago, and a former clerk, Dean Sorio, said, no, Wayne, you don't really need that. You use a lot of water, and you're probably paying less water than now than you would use if you go metered. I put a meter into my place. I really want to know what I use. Our whole demographics is changing. In that week, April 25th till yesterday, Tuesday, I used 4 cubic meters of water. That's what we used. Don Hamilton's funeral is in there. Over 1,000 people came through. We went from 2.5 to 2.6. We used 0.1 of a meter. I was a little bit surprised myself. So to put that into perspective of everything, I'm paying right now upstairs and downstairs. I discussed it with a number of councillors, and they were not aware. Betty and I live upstairs. We're paying residential upstairs, and we're paying commercial downstairs. We're paying medium density. I have asked for over 20 years, how did they arrive at medium density? To this date, I have never had an answer. Light commercial, medium commercial, heavy commercial, or light, medium, and heavy. How was I selected? I've never had an answer. I'm not particularly looking for an answer, but I'm just giving that to you as a matter of fact. We are medium commercial, and I'm paying $259.99 per quarter. I'm paying $433.31 per quarter. Now, to put that into perspective, we're 1,000 imperial gallons of water is $5.06. So I was discussing this with my accountant. I should be getting 85,000 gallons per quarter. So I want to know how I can get my water and where we're going to store it, because that's what we're using. Now, to put that part into perspective, I'm being billed, I should say, correct me on that, for 567 fire tankers of water for first quarter. When we put the meter in, we used 881.6 gallons of water from Tuesday to Tuesday. That did surprise me. That includes Don Hamilton's wake. Betty and I living upstairs. Car washes in the garage. We used all our fleet on his funeral. All the water for 1 week. We used 881 gallons. So that boils down to about 2.3 tanker loads per month. So I feel that there's quite a bit here. I would use about 3,600 gallons based on, it's 881, so let's round it off at 900 gallons. So roughly 3,600 gallons a month. So what am I looking for? it's not gonna go down. It's gonna go up and up and up. Looking at the chart on your wall behind Mayor Johnson and CAO, I did an analysis since I don't have those good glasses. Since 2010 to 2016, we did, in that period, if you look over to the right, we did 324 funerals, 288 used the funeral home, 96 did not. That boils down to, we're running right now, at the end of 2016, 30% of the people are not using the funeral. 2017 is different. We've had 20 funerals in the first quarter. 9 people used the funeral home, 11 did not. That's over 50%. So I'm just looking for fair play here. You know, the medical center, it was not used for quite a bit of time, and you saw fit to, and I understand that. But we're going the opposite way. I can tell you honestly, Warren and I probably will be the last funeral home in Whitewater. Very few small municipalities like us have their own funeral home. We get about a little better than 2/3 of the township will use me, 1/3 won't. The Westmead, La Passe area will all go to Pembroke. And I can see this place, we will eventually shut down. Probably in 20 to 30 years, the funeral will close. And the reason we'll close, cremation is on a huge increase. But most people want to be cremated, just put me in a box and burn me, they don't want anything. That's a day's pay, there's no profit in that. I find now that my revenue side versus the numbers, we're still doing 60 funerals a year, but the revenue is starting to drop, but my expenses are going up and up and up. It's not just the water and sewer that I'm concerned about. Insurance has taken a huge jump. And I'm not telling you something you don't know. Liability is unreal. But I find now, right now, as we speak, 30% of my business is no longer using the funeral. In 2017, it's jumped to 50. So, it is, for me, it is a concern, and that is one of the reasons I put the meter in. I want to know what I'm paying. I'm not paying, but how much I'm actually consuming. I find it, I argued over when we first started, long before you people were here, I argued with the former CAO. We have one line coming into our building. Now, I didn't know till Valley, let me get my glasses on here, Valley Waterworks, they installed our meter. That's that young Eves over in Mansell Hill Road. I didn't even know what the line was. They said, Wayne's a 5/8. Now, I guess it's we have a regular sewer pipe going out. There's only one line water coming in and one line going out. And I have pictures where that, and yet I'm paying, you know, well, Wayne, and I was always told, Wayne, but you have the funeral home down below. The funeral home, our building is actually residential. The funeral home is a tenant. I own the building, they rent from me. So I'll be honest, I don't know where it's going to stop or where it's going to, at 400 and some, well, that's actually, I'm paying $991, $1,000 a month now, or a quarter. And with the new rates coming in, it'll be $1,200, $1,400. It just, not to mention the taxes, the insurance, everything. I did another look at some of the books, and between my taxes, the water bills for all 3 properties, we're paying $20,000 in this municipality, $20,000 a year. So I'm hoping to get some sort of help. Whether I don't know how we'd like to arrange this, but there's the dilemma I'm in. Right there, the numbers behind you, and they're not even in 2017 yet. You know, we will do by the end of 2017. We'll do our normal. If you can look at the years, they jump, but they're very close. Anywhere from 52. We're averaging over 40 years, 54 funerals a year. It runs between 53 and 57 as normal years. But like I said earlier, it's the revenue side. Expenses are going way up, but revenue's coming down. People, every pre-arranged funeral that I'm doing lately, all cremation. I have a husband and wife come in yesterday morning. They changed everything from what we call traditional to up the chimney, out the door, and nothing. It's going all that way, but the big shock I had was the amount of water we used. Honestly, I thought, Mr. Mayor Johnson, I thought we used more. And that was one solid week with a funeral in between. We used 881.6 gallons or 882 gallons, imperial gallons. Anyways, I can talk all day about it, but any questions I can...
Yeah, thanks. There's a lot of numbers thrown hit there, so I want to clarify the numbers. The way I understood it, you're currently paying one residential and a medium commercial rate?
Yeah. I'm
So
paying
173 and 259?
Yeah, and the change, yeah.
And your request, I think I saw it in your request, is to go down to a small commercial?
I think they call it light, yeah.
I think, yeah, I'm just looking at the current water rates here in the presentation. Yeah. So you're looking for a break of from 259 down to 173, which is small commercial. The small commercial is the same as the residential. So essentially, it's...
Personally, I'd like to be metered, because it shocked me with the numbers.
Yeah.
It shocked. I thought it was doing a lot more.
That's another animal that we have to tackle as a council, as we discussed previously. So you're looking for a break of $86 a quarter, $344 a year is what my math shows. Would that be accurate?
What? Probably.
Okay.
I'm like you. I have to have the left or the right hand on the calculator.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify. So you're looking for a break on the medium commercial rate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
I guess my question is a number of questions. So is the meter installed correctly? Has the township inspected the meter? Who read the meter? And if Aqua read the meter, how did the request come to staff to have that meter read? And if not, should there be a charge to have that meter read? Because that was Aqua staff that they didn't really should have read it. My couple of questions.
So first thing, just to touch on what Councillor Olmsted said, that we need to take a broader look at water billing, including metering and the classifications and how we do that. And I suggest that will take some time and likely some expertise to do so. Generally speaking, we don't encourage people to install their own meters. It's great in terms of what Mr. Huebner said in terms of knowing their usage, but we don't encourage residents to do so, especially thinking that it wouldn't necessarily make the property a metered property. I do recall, and Steve can correct me on this, that Aqua was called, not on the township's behalf, to ensure that the meter was running properly, but not by the township. As I said, we don't encourage people to install their own meters, and that's, I don't know if Steve has more to add, but...
I guess the question is, normally, if somebody wants their meter read, what is the process? Do they phone Aqua directly, or do they phone the township?
We have 3 commercial meters, actually 4. There's 2 in the school. One's at Crescent Care, 2 in the school, and 1 on the corner of Crawford and Main. They're read quarterly by myself, and we bill accordingly, and that's it. That's all we have for meters.
So typically, Aqua doesn't read the meters?
No.
Have you ever been in a situation where they've requested an extra read?
No.
So typically then you have never been in the situation where you would have to charge. See, other municipalities that had meters that I've been involved with in Renfrew and Armpire, if there was those homes were actually metered, and if they were selling their property, then they'd have an extra read put in place, and typically there is a small charge for that as well.
Okay, Councillor Mackay?
Do we know what the amount of water would use on a light? Like light, he's medium, and then there's, what is it called, light or light use? Light commercial, what's that called? Small commercial.
I'm not sure if Steve can answer that. My understanding is the properties were put in the different categories based on a survey that had been filled out based on the activities of each property. How long ago that happened, the nature of it, I mean, this is past history. So this allows me to reiterate that we need to take a broader look at how we bill water, both in terms of, we can meter, but we have one property now that the charge for 4 months for the quarter is $36. So metering at just a flat, you need, at some point in time, the water system must pay for itself by the users of the system. It must be revenue neutral. So we have to, I think, take the time to take a broader look at this to ensure that if we go the metering route, for the most part, we do it for the bigger users. There's one exception to that, but with metering should come a base amount as well. And at the end of the day, it's an accounting exercise because we must bring in enough revenue to pay for the expenses. Steve, if you
Councilman
want to...
McLaughlin.
Well, I was going to say much like Robert, I think we need to take this proposal as well as other issues we have and at that point look at it all, because no matter what, one way or the other, like Robert says, the whole thing has to balance. So where if you reduce somebody's one place, somebody else's is going to have to get increased. So I think we really need to have a real good look at it, like Robert says. So I would suggest that we get it set on the agenda in the very near future and have a good look at it, get some expertise if we need it, but I don't think we're going to solve anything tonight. So my suggestion is to take Mr. Huebner's request forward and at that point have a look at all the rest of it and come back, because like Mr. Huebner says, it should be fair.
Steve?
Just a quick note for council's interest, 2011, 2012, Watson and Associates were hired to do a financial plan for the municipality to look at a required financial plan under OREG 170 from the province, and also to look at rates. And Watson and Associates have done over 200 of the municipalities across the province, and it's it's a lot of what they do, and I would suggest if you're going out for expertise to do it again, you're likely going to end up having them do it again. But from what I've read, it seems that our rate system, small commercial, medium commercial, it appears it comes from a model from the city of Arnprior, and that's where we are today with our structure of our rates. Town of Arnprior, sorry.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, if we could take that as direction to come back with a staff report on next steps in terms of doing a fulsome review, so we fix this once and in a fair manner, and as part of that we'll look at the specific request, and then we'll speak to the costs of doing that review, the previous work done by Watson, and then next steps in terms of getting this done.
Okay. I think you understand that we hear you. We understand where you're coming from, and we have to deal with the fact that we have to pay for the water that goes into the pipes, and it has to be paid by the people that take it out. What we need to do, and what we have already discussed in other meetings within the budget, was that we were going to come back, we were going to address meter rates and general rates to make them more in line with what usage is, more or less. And we have not done that yet, but obviously it's going to be kind of important to do that. Quick calculation, I don't know, Steve, if I'm right on this, but a quick calculation, a normal house, according to the Ontario government's charting, would use 300 gallons, between 300 and 400 gallons average use a month. 1,000? Yeah. 1,000?
3,000
okay.
per month.
3,000 gallons.
Yes.
Gallons or liters?
Gallons. 3,000 gallons.
Okay, 'cause it's a higher
It's
than I
not a lot.
remember.
Well, every time.
So you're using 800 in a week.
3 and 1.
Yeah, you say you're using 800 in a
Flush the
week.
toilet.
So times
Well-
4,
Actually,
It's no one.
Councillor Jackson is right. If you do the math, but like I said, when I metered, and I had a reputable firm put it in, my wife and I used 132 gallons the first day. She's running the dishwasher, she's running everything she could possibly run. She don't change her staff because she's not paying the bills. And I was surprised, we used 132. My wife is gone from noon today till midnight tonight. Now, and I'm assuming Councillor Jackson, when she says a normal household, or yourself, Mayor Johnson, that's mom and dad and possibly, the average household has 2 kids and a dog. So I can
There are
understand that,
average
'cause
stats
she's, I
for
think
that,
she's,
yeah.
right?
and you
But
would look that up?
It says an average household, so that takes into consideration how many numbers of people, doesn't matter. If there's 2, if there's 5, if there's 4, if there's 3, average, when you average all of those household uses out, it comes to 3,000 gallons a month. It didn't say a household of 2, because otherwise they'd have to know exactly the details of every household in the town or
If they were
in
metered,
the
you'd know.
province. Well, some are
Yeah,
metered.
Yeah. Now, I got a question
And
then,
those
too.
ones would be metered to show how many gallons, otherwise they would not know.
Okay, well, thank you, 'cause I was wrong. So it was 100 and some gallons a day.
Average.
Yeah, so it's easy. I know I had to do a report one time to avoid a new classification within the system, and I know that most households used less than what they had in their chart, but not much. Very, very close, right? But the end, bottom line, is we have to pay for the water that's coming out of that plant in order to have it there, in order for everybody to use it. And that's the reality of the situation, no matter how we do it.
I don't disagree with Mayor Johnson, but I'm also of the premise that, and I agree, we use it. Councillor Jackson lives out in the country, she shouldn't have to pay water. But my taxes also buy new plow trucks too. And there's a snowstorm in Westmeath, and I'm plowing out there, there's no snow here. So it's a kind of a situation, we have to do everything. I'm not asking for everybody to come in and pay here, but everything goes towards the bigger picture, and I understand that. Fire trucks. You know, there's a fire out in that region, it's a big picture, and I understand that. And I understand that, and we have a really decent system. I just find my situation is changing.
Yes, and everybody's is, but we're not legally allowed to charge user fee to the general public, am I correct? Am I correct?
Yeah, the regulation requires the users of the system to pay for the system.
Councillor Jackson?
I take offense to say that I'm not paying for water. If my well goes, my well is gonna cost $10,000 to $15,000.
You didn't
If my
listen to what I said.
septic
I
system,
don't understand you're not paying
I'm
us.
also paying
Yeah.
for the snowplow out in Westmeath and
Yeah.
La Paz and Haley Station, as well as in my area. Everybody pays for all of that, but the users actually pay for the water and the sewer. I'm paying my user fees for my water and sewer, which is a well and a septic system. Yes, I don't have to pay it every year, but when it fails, I have a big, huge bill. So I take great offense to that comment.
Well, I'm sorry, I apologize to you, because it was not meant in the way you took it. What I said was, you don't have to pay, well, I don't expect you to pay Cobham's water and sewer. That's what I said. And I agree, you shouldn't have to pay it. But anybody in the country, I have a property out in, what do you call that, Madawaska Valley. And the same thing, we now have to, we got a letter the other day that we have to have our septic pumped, and every 5 years, we have to start somewhere. And so we're similar there, we have water and a big holding tank, you know. But I understand, I don't expect you people that live in the country, you know.
Okay, I'm gonna thank you, I'm gonna hold it there, Wayne, and I thank you for your presentation, and we are on a limited budget for time. Any other speakers that would like to speak towards the budget? All right, then we'll move
And just a little, one last note, we're anticipating the bylaw for the user pay budget would come forward at the next meeting, and just a note that, council changed the, meeting calendar, I'm not sure if you remember, the next meeting is on the fourth Wednesday, May 24th, and that's the time at which, we believe the user pay budget will come back for final consideration.
Marcia? Nope. Oh, I thought we... All right, we're moving down to the quarterly report.
So, Mr. Mayor, this is a bit of a change that we discussed when I first started as your CAO, just a different way of trying to get information to council on what each department has been working on. We did do monthly reports, but they had kind of limited information, and the goal is to provide you on a quarterly basis with some good solid data so you know what we've been up to, but also some explanation on some of our activities. And I think this is just a usable format that we can share with the public and have available on our website. So any feedback that you might have, we'd welcome it. What I'd like to do is allow each department to give just a really quick synopsis of some of the stuff they've been working on. And I'd like to thank staff for all their work that they do. Our staff provide services to the public, stuff like water coming out of the taps, as we were just discussing, picking up garbage, issuing building permits, organizing events. But they do that, and I just want to recognize all the efforts that they do and the work that they do every day. We were aggressive in trying to get the budget to you earlier, so I want to thank Marcia. I know that took up a lot of her time, and we've had some significant staff changes, and we're really excited about all the different people that have joined the team, and we're all committed to ensuring that council's strategic priorities are achieved through concerted action. So if okay with council, I'd like to call each of the managers, or they stay where they are, and pass the mic to just give, if we do it by department, to just give some highlights of some of the areas, and if there are any questions.
Absolutely. So we'll start with Building Property Services Department.
Good evening, everyone. We're very busy in the building department. Since this report, it's kind of exploded, the number of permits coming in, and it looks like it's going to be another real good year in the building department. If you have any questions, our dog tags, this week we're going to pick up from the stores the rest of them that they had sold, so that number will increase a bit. That's on the report.
Okay. Any questions from any council? Councillor Mackay.
Let's go to Doug. Is the dog tags up from last year?
I'm not sure until we get the total number, but I don't think they are.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll move to Community Services.
Oh, good evening. So I guess with this report, it was mainly for January to March, and I think the goal was really focused on getting a manager in place, and my start date was April 10th, and since then I've been pretty busy acquiring many files. Am I talking too loud here?
Yeah, move away a little.
Sorry, I can't hear myself, so it's kind of behind the noise. Sorry about that. Anyways, I've been acquiring lots of files such as accessibility, emergency management, crossing guards, seasonal staff, special events and programs, and recreation and tourism initiatives. Thank you.
Any questions for Jordan? Street struts coming along, the guys? Oh, okay, perfect.
You probably hear me from here, actually. Yeah, just to touch on that really quickly. So we're actually busy just acquiring all our entertainment for the afternoon, and we're working on a headliner at this point.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions for Jordan at this point? No, seeing none? All right. Oh, we got two of them. Those corporate services. Oh, yeah. Marcia?
Okay, we've been busy with the budget. We've been working with the user pay, the tax-supported budget. We've also been very busy doing the year-end for the auditors. And council remuneration was completed. And I think that's it for right now.
And I'll just add that there've been a lot of change initiatives, so I'm thanking staff again for their patience, because there's been a number of things. But so one, the records management audit did take place, and we'll come back to council with some recommendations on that, and some staff training. And Steve and I are working on the health and safety audit, and that's in the fiscal services area. As you know, Syntax Strategic offered their free services for the logo, and that's really progressing, and we should be coming back. We're hoping to email council the final choices, and then getting the survey out as soon as possible so we can have a final selection at the June 7th meeting. We reviewed the procedural bylaw. The website is one of our projects, iCompass, that you saw. I just wanted a quick update on the strategic plan. I did come to council to confirm the mission statement. Some of that work also occurred with the staff when we had the all-day meeting, as well as the vision statement. I was going to come to council earlier, but I am away on vacation, using my vacation to be in a classroom. And one of my classes is strategic planning. So I thought it was probably best to wait and see if I learn anything that I can apply for our purposes. And there's actually a group exercise on using a municipal strategic plan and improving it. So I thought, well, hey, I'll get some classmates to work on our strategic plan. So we'll be back on that in June. The other one and some great work, some great participation from staff at that meeting on corporate values, and what it means to be ambassadors on behalf of the township. So we'll bring that forward. And again, just to reiterate, there has been some significant staff changes. I think we've got a solid team, and we're with the team that we do have, the skills that we need to move the township forward. So I'm really excited with the path forward. So that meant that we were spending a lot of time in hiring panels. So Councillor Ricky and I have seen each other a lot, as with the mayor. And just so you know, in terms of burial permits, we do provide services to the public. So 2 lottery licenses were issued for the period, and 11 burial permits. Policing, one thing, the OPP, both detachments will be coming forward on June 7th, along with the Municipal Policing Bureau, to talk about the billing model. So there'll be council had requested this earlier, but we've scheduled that for June 7th. And then purchasing, we have 6 RFPs and tenders out right now, and more that are going to go out. But we did, during the period, do the tender for janitorial services and the website.
Thank you, Robert. Any questions? Okay. Yep, we're moving on to physical services. Randy.
I'll start for physical services. Randy can finish.
Okay, sorry.
Right now, it's typical spring cleanup at the waste site. As you can imagine, after the winter, it's a mess, and we're in a lot of mud right now. So cleaning. But other than that, all operations are a go at the waste site. Everything's going along fine. Health and safety, as Rob mentioned, we're doing a third-party health and safety audit. We are taking a new approach to our health and safety committee. I think we've got some new members. I think we need to get off on a better foot for 2017. So I think things are going to work out pretty well there. Working on the engineering, detailed design engineering RFP for True Love, John, and Crawford. We've got interest from about 12 engineering firms so far. And new generator is installed and commissioned at the lift station right by the LCBO, and been working with Marcia reference to the water and wastewater budget. As acting manager, which is coming to an end very shortly, I've enjoyed working with Randy and Sandra a little closer. It's been great. Randy's been a great sidekick, and with that, I'll let him do roads and maybe an update on the flooding.
Well, a few things have changed since the quarterly report that I put out, which had mostly to do with winter events, freezing rain and snow, and shortage of sand in the dome and things like that. But the grader operators have let me know that they have pretty well covered all the roads once grading so far. The other thing we've been dealing with is the flooding. So far, we've put out 11 loads of sand to strategic spots throughout the Westmeath and La Paz areas for people to get sand. We've put out so far 13,000 bags, and they've been able to access those at the Westmeath Dome, at the Westmeath Garage. And we've ordered another 10,000 bags, which should arrive on Friday, knowing that there's all this rain coming. We've checked some of the roads down there. We've put signs up on a few, Clunge Lake Trail, Lacqua Bay Road, Sinkhole Trail, Visna Trail, and Sandpoint Road all have signs saying there's either water over the road or the road is closed. And that's all I've got.
Councillor Jackson.
Have you updated the county so they can update their map with regards to the County 511, I think it's called?
We've been involved in their teleconference, MNRF teleconference, but we don't have any of our own roads that are closed. So we haven't updated the county with respect to that.
Yeah, we've kind of encountered a bit of a snare in the sense that they're private roads, and how do you kind of warn people that might be going in there that to be very careful. So kind of what we've come up with is to put the barricades there to know people that it's a hazard, but we will, the county and not Freshnet, but Freshet, which is the MNR, there are some teleconferences, so what we'll do is we'll connect with the county and see how they want to approach private roads. So although they're not, we didn't close them, we're basically warning residents about them, but we are monitoring the situation, and that might come. But we'll track back to the county and see how they want to put that on the mapping for the 511.
Yeah, I'm just thinking in particular with regards to, well, the fire department as well as the paramedics, just to know.
Okay. Councillor McLaughlin.
I'll direct this one to Randy. I don't know, are the tenders out for the double surface treatment on the Kerr line, or has that been done from last year?
They're out. They haven't closed yet, but they're out. I had a site meeting with the contractors today. Okay.
Have you done all the culvert checks on the Kerr line as well?
I believe that was done last year.
Okay. I didn't know where it was. I was hoping that we will be ready to go as soon as.
It'll probably be after the end of May when the half loads are off.
Yeah.
We'll be able to start at any time after that.
And then that's what I like to hear. What about Colesmith Road? After the extra damage that's been done on that, are you anticipating doing any more resurfacing or?
We have it in one of the tenders to resurface a couple of the spots there that got washed out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, you're right on it. There certainly is. There was quite a bit of damage done there. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Mackay.
Yeah, this goes to Randy. I'm going to put on my Beechford Fair hat. There's quite a mess there from the winter snow dump. I know you're busy right now, but, you know, up by the tarp building there. And just want to remind you, when you get a chance, not during the flooding, but...
We'll get that cleaned up, yeah.
And you might have to back drag, so there's some ruts in there. I mean, that's just... But if you have to deal with the dragons I work with on the fair board, you're better to hear me say it. Trust me.
I'll see what I can do.
All right, thank you.
It's a good thing they're his relatives. Good gracious. Any more questions? No, I had one. Oh, culverts. We've had I know when I've been driving around, we're having quite a problem with beavers and culverts and blocked every morning. And have you considered getting a trapper?
We have, and one's been called.
Okay, yes, perfect. Right on top of it. Any other questions? Okay. Let's go to the fire department. Wayne.
Well, you have my report in front of you there, and just on a side note, we had 24 responses to the end of April, or the end of March, I should say, and we had just over 900,000 in loss. We issued 164 fire permits were issued till the end of March, but I know that's been probably double since. In-house training, right now the fellows are in on first aid, CPR, AED is ongoing right now.
Okay, any questions for the fire department for Chief Wayne, Reeve Miller?
Yeah, I'd just like to inquire about the fire communication study. Has that been submitted to Renfrew County at this point?
I talked with Steve Boland. He hasn't answered my question.
Which is, please?
The survey that they sent out earlier, I have never seen one. And they asked, Renfrew and myself don't recall seeing it. I'm to reply to a survey, Reeve Miller, I never saw. I don't know where it went. I would like to read it. We had our own separate one from the county, but I have never seen the county one. I don't know where it is. And I asked Steve Boland, and he did get back, and I wasn't able to get back to him. I would like to see a copy first before I apply for Whitewater. Reply, I should say.
Okay, I will look into it once again on their end. As for that survey, I can't be 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I submitted that last summer to this municipal office, and what happened since then, I cannot say.
I just, Reeve Miller, I'd like to, before I sign or say anything, I'd like to even peruse it for a few minutes.
For sure, and I will do my best to get you that. I didn't realize all along there was some part missing, and we'll try and locate that part. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, Marcia? Maybe it's your turn now, isn't it?
Anything to add on the financial summary?
No, everything's there.
Okay. Any questions of Marcia? I do have one. This is just for my, because I'm doing some work on this particular system, but that's 117,350 for street lighting. So that's worth looking at for the project that we will be bringing to council, Bernie and I. Because that's a lot of money. We'd like to see that cut less than half, right? So I just wanted to bring that up. I have no other questions. Any other questions, Councillor Regier?
Not a question, just a comment. I just want to say thank you to Rob and all of the staff because this is excellent. This is really a good tool. So thank you so much for all your hard work. And you're right, Rob, we've had a tough old go here with a lot of new people, and everyone's fitting in and plugging along, and everything's just happening. So it's an exciting time. Thanks for this. So thank you for it.
So we'll try to find a nice photo for the spring, and this is not the melt at the Beachburg Fairground. So then just in terms of next step, what we'll do is we'll put this on the next agenda because it was just brought to you today, and then just get a resolution to receive it at the next meeting.
Okay, Councillor Jackson.
Great job, everybody, as well, and I've commented to Rob before. The only other question I'm wondering, and I don't know your accounting system at all, your GL accounts, but wondering if winter maintenance can be extracted from roads so that we can compare winter maintenance costs, the budget for winter maintenance as well as the expenses, because I know this year it's probably at like 80 or 90%,
No,
right?
That makes sense.
Compared to the overall roads, because the roads include the capital portion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we can do is I can just add another GL and then, or just even report it on a separate line if you prefer.
Yeah.
Would you do that? Would you like that?
Just a report on the separate line would be great.
Sure, okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.